Hi guys, welcome to my brand new art studio and bedroom makeover tour. I finally fully furnished and decorated and organized the space, and I am so excited to show you guys what I've done with the place. So I am super duper grateful because I had the wonderful opportunity of being able to fill a much bigger space than the bedroom / art studio space that I had originally. And so I have been spending the past several weeks, I think has it been 2 months already? It's been somewhere like that, but I have been spending the past several weeks working on this space and pumping all of my energy into it, and it is finally basically done, so I can't wait to show you guys. Not much has changed in terms of the furniture that I have in this space, save for a couple of new additions, but I'm very happy to finally be living in a space where I don't feel like I'm trying to cram everything in like a little sardine, because before, my bedroom and art studio space was just so small that it literally felt like I had to play Tetris in order to make everything fit. I was trying to get all of my art stuff, all of my small business stuff, and to try and fit all of my work, play, and relaxation stuff into one space. And it definitely made me feel a lot more stressed out when I was ready to do work every day. I think that my old bedroom definitely served me very well in all of my years of living in it, but it was definitely time for a much needed change, and now I feel a lot more confident and comfortable to film YouTube videos or to do my digital art and traditional art, to package all of my orders on Prismano. And even just sleeping in this space is a lot more comfortable now, since before I was compact into a very tiny area where I had my little twin bed, which I do still have, but it was very squished together and I only had one spot that I could walk to the bed from, and it was just very uncomfortable. And it was also really difficult to reach any of the storage that I had underneath my bed as well. So I just think overall this setup is so much better and definitely serves me way better than my original bedroom. I also wanted to briefly touch on a topic that I have kind of touched on in previous YouTube videos, and that topic is basically how decorating your space can honestly improve your mental health and your productivity as a whole. I feel like decorating a space in whatever way you want, in whatever aesthetics and styles you like, can absolutely help you so much when doing your work, when just existing in it as a whole, especially for those of us like me who work at home. It's so much nicer to be able to do your work in a space where you look around and are just so proud and happy with how it looks, and you feel like it it just represents you to a T, and it just feels so nice to step into every day. And of course, I know that not everyone is able to fully decorate spaces how they want to for whatever reasons, but honestly, even just doing something as simple as getting furniture in a color that you really like, or getting those tiny little goods here and there that you're able to buy that represent the fandoms and the interests that you have. Even starting like a tiny little rock collection and putting it in a little vase, which is what I used to do when I was a little kid. I used to just walk around and collect any kind of rock that I thought looked really, really cool, and I put them all in this like huge vase thingy, and I don't know, I just used to love that when I was a kid. Doing things like that can really just liven up your space and just make it feel so much more like you, and so much more like the kind of vibe that you want to bring out into the world and portray in yourself, in the things that you create, in the work that you do and put out there. I just think it's great. I just love interior design and decorating so much, and I highly recommend anyone thinking about getting into it and wanting to update their space, definitely look into it, and definitely look into what kinds of aesthetics, if you're not sure what you like, what kinds of aesthetics might work best for you. Of course, my room is very like light and airy and kind of girly and things like that, but honestly, like, there are so many aesthetics that I also really love that might not represent me as a person, but that I just find so gorgeous and so beautiful. And I know so many people are like that as well, where they're kind of like into a lot of different things and a lot of different aesthetics. And so just finding that one that really speaks to you can honestly be a huge game changer in how you just approach life and live in a space in general. It's honestly just the little things in your physical environment that can make a world of a difference for your mental environment and for just what you do in general in life. I feel like it can be a huge motivator or a huge downer, depending on how you have things set up in your space. And so that's why I always think it's very, very important to always look into how you can make your space feel more you and feel more attuned to what you like and what you don't like. So when I go into decorating a space, whether it's a space that I've lived in for a long time or a brand new space like this one, I always try and think of how best it can serve me and the purpose that I will be using it for, and how I can make just being alive in general and being a creative person a lot more enjoyable and a lot more easy as a whole. So as I mentioned in basically every single YouTube video, I have ADHD, and I mention that because it affects basically every decision that I make in my life. And so having a space that's really well organized and well suited to what I'm doing really helps me with my productivity, with my sleep as a whole, with relaxing, with gaming and just having fun. I tend to experience exhaustion and burnout really quickly because of my ADHD. So it really does make it a big challenge to work from home and to try and shut my brain off when I'm done working at the end of the day and am ready to relax or go to sleep. Because my bed is like directly in my line of sight, that also adds another layer of making it very difficult to be productive. And it's not like I'm going out to work every day and get all dressed up and things like that to go see my coworkers and clients and everything like that. So to kind of combat that issue, I did something very similar that I did in my previous room, and I got these like IKEA, I think they're called like Kallax bookshelves, and I just separated the bedroom area, the main sleep area, from my art studio section and my packaging station for my small business. I remember in my previous room that ended up helping me so much with my productivity and my relaxation, and just creating that level of division can really be monumentally different in how you feel mentally when you're ready to do work and then when you're ready to relax. Of course, my Kallax bookshelf is stacked to the brim with all of my favorite things. I have a bunch of art books that I got from Kinokuniya and Amazon and a bunch of other places. I have all of my little pop figures and blind box toys. Of course, dozens of Rilakkuma and Sanrio plushies. I've got some chimneys in there, and of course some extra Final Fantasy and general video game stuff. I have some Overflow BTS stuff as well in that bookshelf because they are my favorite music artist of all time. And I have some other little bits and bobs in there as well. Things like extra lighting, extra tech equipment, and just general decoration and things to just make the area look super cute. Right next to it, I also have my new IKEA cart that I absolutely adore. I love that like mint green color. It's so pretty, and I feel like it just brightens up the space in comparison to the old cart that I had from IKEA, which was a lot darker in color, and I felt like it kind of, I don't know, ate up a lot of space because of its shape. It's a lot cleaner and sleeker, and I just like that it doesn't feel as bulky, but it can still fit a ton of stuff. And because the corners of it aren't rounded, I noticed that I can actually fit a lot more things in there. So it's just very convenient, and it is like an artist's best friend, especially if you do traditional art. So of course that whole bookshelf area is still a little bit of a work in progress, but basically it's mostly done. So I'm super happy with how it turned out. So my art studio area is kind of like two things rolled into one, which I already mentioned. It's for both my traditional art as well as packaging all of my goodies that people ordered from my small business Prismano. And if you don't know about it, I'll put like something on the video, like a link or something to my website, and you can see all of my adorable and gorgeous products. I am so proud of especially the new releases I've been doing, so you guys should definitely check it out. And I'm actually right now wearing a new edition that I'm going to be announcing very soon, and I am super duper excited to show you guys. So I made this side of the art studio a little packaging section, as I had mentioned, and right next to it, I'm pointing at it right now because it's right in front of me, right next to it I have this biggest Epson printer that I got just recently, and I have been so super duper impressed by the quality of the prints that come out of it. So I am very excited to add more of my illustrations onto the roster of art prints that I have on Prismano. So right now you can get 8.5 by 11 art prints on my website, and I have about 4 art prints on there right now, but I'm going to be continually adding more and more illustrations. So let me know in the comment section below if there's a specific illustration that I have that you want me to make an art print of that I haven't added yet. So pivoting back to this area of the room, I made this like a huge video game bookshelf, which I also had in my previous room, but I wanted to make it look a lot cleaner, less cluttered, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. So up top, I have my gorgeous Bratz doll that I absolutely adore. I used to love Bratz as a kid, so when Target ended up bringing them back, I absolutely had to get one again. I have some of my faux flowers up there as well, which I used for product photos. And then the top shelf I have dedicated to some of my Kingdom Hearts and just overall Disney plushies that I've had ever since I was a little kid for the most part. Then the next shelf is dedicated to Dragon Age, which is one of my absolute favorite video games of all time. And as you can see, I am adding a few Baldur's Gate 3 items to it as well, but I definitely want to get more Baldur's Gate 3 stuff and definitely Asterion stuff as well, because you know I'm an Asterion girly, of course. Can't deny it. And then the next shelf is some of my favorite Final Fantasy goods. I have this signed Final Fantasy 15 poster that I got at PAX West back in, I think, 2016, and it was just absolutely incredible. They had like a whole panel and I got to meet Hajime Tabata, and it was just like a dream come true, so I absolutely adore that signed poster. I have some Final Fantasy 7 goods, some Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 14, and of course more Final Fantasy 15 stuff. And then the next shelf down is more Final Fantasy stuff, of course, because I just adore that video game series. It is my favorite video game series of all time, so of course your girl has to have an insane amount of merchandise from it. This is where I keep most of my Final Fantasy 14 stuff, as well as some overflow stuff as well. And the bottom two shelves below that one are just filled with other video game and anime and things like that that I really love. Of course, I had to add a little Sanji shrine because I have been absolutely loving One Piece, especially after the One Piece live action came out, and I am so freaking excited for season 2. So my little sleepy time area is just a basic IKEA twin bed. I have been sleeping in a twin bed for basically my entire life, and honestly, I would prefer to have a double bed, honestly, because, you know, of course it would be nice to have more space, but at the same time, a twin bed is such a big space saver in a room in general, and I've been living in one for so many years that it's just, I don't know, I'm just used to it at this point, so I don't really mind keeping it like that. And if I can save on space and have more things that I love in this room, then honestly, I will take it. I am totally fine with that. And next to that IKEA bed is a super cute side table that I got from Urban Outfitters. Now, be warned, if you see this side table and you want it, don't get it. It's not worth the money. It's really, really cute from the outside, but when I got it, it was completely broken. Like, I'm pretty sure one of like the legs or like one of the pedals was completely snapped in half, and I had to reassemble it with super glue. And also the screws that they provided didn't work, so I had to use other screws, and then they ended up being a little bit too big. And so if you like look on the top of it, there's like holes at the top where like the tip of the screw is poking out. It was a disaster. So just honestly, save your money, get a much cheaper and probably cuter side table somewhere else. Urban Outfitters is like iconically bad with their furniture for some reason, even though they're super expensive. Unfortunately, the pieces are really unique and really cute, so that's why I kind of get suckered into it a lot. But yeah, I probably wouldn't purchase furniture from them again, unfortunately. Yeah, their quality control is just not very good, and I had reached out to them about it, and they were kind of just like, sorry, we can't really do anything about that. That's unfortunate. Sorry about that. So yeah. And so at the foot of my bed, I have this really cute, you guessed it, IKEA display cabinet. I just love IKEA products. I don't know, they're just really cheap and honestly decent quality for how cheap they are, and a lot of their stuff is very sleek and plain, and you can get pretty much anything you want in white. So I'm an IKEA girly, and so that's basically where I get all of my shit from. But yeah, I originally had this cabinet, and I'm pretty sure I showed it in my last art studio makeover tour. I had it filled with a bunch of band merchandise from one of my favorite J-rock bands, but I decided to repurpose it and just house all of my like favorite video game and potentially anime figures in there. Obviously, this little display case needs a lot more work and a lot more love, but for now, I think it does the job pretty well. Next up on the other side of my room, I have this super cute IKEA ladder style bookshelf, and ever since I was younger and these started like gaining popularity, I've always wanted a bookshelf that has this like shape and has that light wood color. So when I saw this on, of course, IKEA, I just had to run for it and get it because I just thought it was so cute and so pretty, and I felt like it really blended in with the aesthetic of my room super duper well. I also needed something in that place to kind of hide the very bad lack there of cable management that I have going on at my computer desk that's right behind it. I won't be showing you that because it's really embarrassing, but hopefully someday I'll be able to have proper cable management. That is definitely my goal, but for some reason there's something about having to organize all those cables that just stresses me out so bad. So I've kind of been putting it off, and maybe that'll be a future video or something, I don't know. I'm really bad at organizing things like that, so we'll see, we'll see. This bookshelf has some Overflow, TXT, and Le Sserafim stuff, as well as housing some of my favorite Japanese fashion magazines that I have been collecting for the past like 15 plus years. I am very, very proud of my collection, and I just adore the Keta magazines and the Gothic and Lolita Bibles that I used to be able to get at Barnes & Noble, and they always just made me so, so happy. So I am very happy that I have kept them for as long as I have, and it'll probably be one of those things that I hold on to all the way until like I'm old, and I don't know, I just love them so much. And next to this ladder style bookshelf, we also have these individual Kallax little cube storage furniture pieces. I just really like the color of them, and they give me a little bit of extra storage, which I love. I also just recently got this black, blue, and white Vita Kuma that I have sitting on top of it, and I just adore the way it looks, so I had to put him front and center. When you first walk into my room, that is what you see. Next is probably my favorite section of my bedroom and art studio, which is why I am actually filming here right now. It is my computer desk. And so this desk I have put in kind of like an L-shaped design, where I have my computer facing the back of the door, and I have another desk from, of course, IKEA on the side. And I like having that desk there just to put some of my snacks or put my water bottle, or I use it to do a lot of sketching and storyboarding in my sketchbooks. Just when I'm not like ready to do a full-on traditional original art piece. As you can tell, blue is my absolute favorite color, which, I mean, I'm wearing it right now. And so a lot of the decor pieces in my room, and especially in this space, since this is where I spend most of my time, I would say, all basically feature the color blue because I just love it so much and I just think it's so pretty. I have some of my plants here that honestly, as someone with ADHD, I am very proud that I have managed to keep them alive this long. So on this little desk, I have a bunch of my favorite decor pieces that I have picked up from places like Michael's, Anthropologie, bookstores like Kinokuniya, some of the art museums that I've been to, and also some of my own art here. Most of the actual computer desk area just has a lot of my necessities like chapsticks, hand sanitizer, gum, things like that. We have some tape and some medication for my ADHD and some ibuprofen because yeah, girl be hurty sometimes. And of course, we're just gonna ignore under the desk, frankly, because y'all really don't need to see that. That is a disaster down there, and I will fix it eventually, I promise. Next up is my little music bookshelf, and I'm honestly very impressed and surprised that I managed to fit all of my music merchandise in there because I like a lot of bands and a lot of groups, and I don't know, I wasn't sure that I would be able to fit all of them in there. Originally, in this exact same bookshelf in my previous bedroom, I actually had it filled to the brim with only BTS stuff. I did end up putting some things back in their original boxes and their original cases, and I unfortunately had to part with a few things, but all in all, I think I actually did a pretty good job of organizing all of my favorite groups and bands in there. On the top shelf, we have one of my biggest paintings that I made back in 2021. Of course, my Pochako and some chimneys there, a little Jimin to watch over me. We have my BTS and Park Jimin shrine because of course your girl's got a bias. The next shelf has all of my Alice 9 and some The Gazette stuff as well. I have been a huge Visual Kei and overall J-Rock fan since the mid 2000s, so this collection is very near and dear to my heart and I absolutely adore it. I have a lot of signed stuff from some of the band members as well as my bias show. And then on the shelf below that is my TXT and LE SSERAFIM area. I don't know why I tend to combine their merchandise together, but I just feel like it kind of works together, so I like putting them in the same spot. I also have a mini Beomgyu shrine because he is my bias in TXT, and if you're wondering who my bias is in LE SSERAFIM, I can't choose between Yoonjin, Sakura, and Taewon. I love all three of them, just all the girls so much in LE SSERAFIM, but those three specifically constantly bias wreck me and I just can't decide on one of them at all, so it's very difficult. And right here I have this Yeonjun autographed postcard that I got from one of their previous releases for Free Fall, I'm pretty sure, and I am so happy that I own this, especially because back last year when they were doing their world tour, I had the opportunity to include my Blue Spring TXT illustration in this fan book that the venue at their Georgia show ended up putting together for them, and one of the members actually ended up talking about that book and posting a picture of it, and I was blown away because my Blue Spring illustration was actually on the front page of that book, and that was just one of the most mind-blowing things in the world to me. Honestly, people that I look up to, seeing my artwork is one of my greatest honors and something that I want to do for basically anyone that I look up to, because art is the thing that I am the most passionate and proud of in my life. And so having them see it, these people that I have been standing since 2019, is absolutely insane and honestly one of the proudest moments of my life. So I was very happy with that, and I am very honored to own something autographed by Yeonjun, especially because it's a Blue Spring themed postcard. It just feels perfect. It all works together well and I just love it. And then on the next shelf is just all of my BTS albums, and the shelf below that is more excess BTS goods as well. Lastly, for my bedroom section, I have my TV stand where I house some excess magazines, some Japanese fashion books, some excess Visual Kei magazines, and I also have my hoard of childhood manga down there as well. Just above the TV, I have this little shelving unit as well from IKEA, of course. Everything in my room is from IKEA, basically. And I just have some of my original art pieces, some excess Chimmy plushies, and some other Sanrio and etc. plushies that I absolutely adore, and my gorgeous Moabong because I love TXT very much. So I actually have a really funny story about my Fruits Basket manga. My Fruits Basket manga collection is one of my prized possessions as well, because I ended up building my little Fruits Basket collection back in the early 2000s when I was still a little kid. Fruits Basket is my favorite manga of all time, so I cherish these overseas manga very, very much. So my precious childhood dog, Zaki, who passed away back in December of 2022, was an absolute harbinger of chaos. And so I remember back in the early 2000s, I would walk all over my house with my Fruits Basket mangas, and I would just sit down and reread them over and over and over again wherever I saw fit. And so one day, my family and I ended up going outside, running some sort of errand or like going to the mall or something like that. And I didn't really think much of it, but I ended up leaving about like 3 or 4 of my Fruits Basket manga just like sitting on the table in the living room. And my dogs, of course, like when we would go outside, they would always stay downstairs and just be like hanging out on their own downstairs. And usually it was relatively okay to do that, but on that day, I didn't think that Zaki had it in him to mess with the manga that was there. He kind of did have a history of like tearing up magazines and things like that, but I don't know, for some reason in my brain I just didn't think he'd go for like solid manga, like books. And so when we ended up coming back home, I just remember the whole living room being covered in manga scraps and ripped paper and just all of that all over the living room, and I couldn't even be mad at him because I just thought it was the funniest thing ever and it looked absolutely insane. And so now those specific manga I hold very near and dear to my heart because they are so messed up. They kind of look like art pieces, honestly, and I honestly kind of like them. I don't want to replace them with new ones. Like, I am totally happy just keeping these absolutely messed up, destroyed manga that my dog so carefully tore apart, and it honestly leaves me with a really nice memory to look back on, especially now that he's passed away. So I hope that he is wreaking absolute havoc and chaos up in the clouds right now. And so that is it for my bedroom and art studio makeover tour. I am so proud and happy of how this place turned out, and I am so excited to continue filling it with more things and continue updating it and reorganizing it as I continue to live and grow in it. And I am just so happy with how it turned out. It is so much better for me, both physically and mentally, and I am just very grateful to have this space. This space obviously isn't the most insanely huge space ever in the entire world, but to me it just feels like a huge step up, and I am so happy to have it. Let me know in the comment section below if you'd like me to do a longer and more comprehensive video talking about that topic, because it's something that I'm really passionate about for some reason, and I could just talk about it for hours, honestly. So if you've made it this far into the video, be sure to leave a blue heart emoji so that I know you did, and let me know in the comment section below what other video topics you would like me to discuss in a future video. And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe so that you see more of this content from me, and be sure to hit that bell button so that you get notified every time I put out a new video. And don't forget to share this video with anyone who you think might enjoy it. Until next time, my friend.